Hey guys, it's the Chad, your C10 truck nerd. Today is part 3 of our series on old Donna the Donor truck. In our previous videos, we talked about the benefits of buying a donor, how to take one completely apart, and today we're really going to focus on, if you do blast one to pieces, what parts you should be keeping, scrapping, how to prep them, price them, and if you stick around to the end, I'll even tell you how much profit I made from old Donna. First off, I'd like to give a big shout out to all you guys out there that have been keeping these used parts in circulation. Without you, there's a bunch of fathers, kiddos, and guys like me that just couldn't afford to build our trucks. Now there's nothing wrong with going out and buying all new parts, but I don't think you truly need to unless you're going for that show quality build. I like going the route of the used parts because I like to hunt, I like to wheel and deal with people, and I just get to meet a lot of cool people along the way. So let's say you guys made the decision to go out and buy a donor truck and now you're ready to part it out. A couple things you need to consider. First, which parts are you going to be keeping for your own build? And two, which ones are you going to be trying to sell? That is pretty important to know up front because you need to be really careful as you're taking them off the donor truck. That way you don't ruin your profits. Next thing I want to talk to you guys about is what parts you should be keeping versus scrapping. Well, truly, I think we should be keeping as many usable parts as we possibly can, unless that part is damaged or completely rusted out. All of these parts are worth something to somebody, but you do need to consider, what is your time worth? You don't want to spend hours upon hours removing every single part off of this donor truck if there's not going to be a good return on it. Like, if it took you 45 minutes to pull one of these spring mounts out, that's not a good investment because you're only going to get about $5 for it. So just leave it on the chassis and sell it as is, or send the whole thing right to the scrapper. So let's say you're a guy that wants to go through and get every single dollar out of one of these donor trucks as you can. Hey, I'm cool with that. You're already going through and doing all the labor, why not try? The one thing I would tell you to do though is maybe plan on bulking a lot of these small parts together to sell them. If not, you're going to spend weeks listing these items one by one, and you'll probably get burnt out. If not, you can just stockpile a lot of these parts if you have the room, and wait till you have the next swap meet and try to sell them all then. So once you guys start blowing your old trucks to pieces, you're going to accumulate a lot of used parts that you're going to have to start storing, kind of like all of this stuff. Well, I'm definitely a guy that wants to make as much money on these used parts as I possibly can, but I know I have to be realistic. If I go through and set my prices way up here, I'm probably going to be sitting on this stuff month after month. Well, time is something that I don't have right now. I had 30 days from start to finish to get Donna blown completely apart and to get all these used parts sold and out of here. Well, that leaves me 8 more days or the city can come and find me. So real soon I think I'm going to be having one of those BOGO sales or I don't know. I may or may not have got myself in way over my head this time. So when it comes to money, I always like to go through and double my investment. If I went out and bought a truck for $500, I'd like to get 1,000 out of it. If I snag up a hood for 40, I better get 80 in the end. You know, I understand I could make triple and sometimes quadruple the money if I'd sit on some of these smaller parts longer, but I don't think it's worth it just to make an extra 10 bucks. I get it if it's a bed, a tailgate, you know, a grill, something that's worth substantial money. Maybe I sit on it 60 days to make another $100, but most of the time, I just look at it as a business deal. My good buddy, Mike Castillo, he's like the C10 truck guy of the Midwest. He gave me a little advice when I started this adventure. He said, hey, make sure you do look at it as a business investment. You may have 1,000 parts worth $100 and sit on it forever, or you could take those same 1,000 parts and sell them for 50 and reinvest your money. Well, that's something smart that I really didn't look at before, but I am trying to make this money work. That way I can go through and build my truck for free. Next, let's talk about truck pricing. How in the world are you guys supposed to know what a fair used price is for all these parts? Generally what I'll do is shoot over to Craigslist or Marketplace and seeing what C10 parts are selling for in my local city. If I don't have much luck there, then I'm going to join a local C10 club or a national C10 Facebook group and just ask the experts. But if I strike out on all those places, I'll just go to LMC Truck, Classic Parts of America, or even Brothers and see what new parts are selling for. And then I have to determine, what do I want to ask for my used stuff based off of their prices? Generally, that's going to be, 50% or less of what it sells for new. Hopefully that gives you a baseline. So earlier I'd ask you guys, are your parts desirable? Are your parts highly sought after? What I'm trying to get at is the used parts that you have, is there a lot of people out there that want them, and which ones bring the most amount of money? Well, I'd say the biggest inquiries that I've been getting are for original short bed boxes, tailgates, grills, and seats. So if you have any of those that are in good to excellent condition, you can probably shoot for the stars when it comes to pricing, because there's not that many of them out there. Now, if somebody wants a short bed box, they can go buy a repop one. The downfall, they're going for well over $4,000 after tax and shipping right now. So if you do have an original short bed box that's in good to excellent condition, it's not uncommon to see guys out there asking $2,000 to $3,000 for one of these things. I mean, that makes me want to throw up because it's so much money, but that's kind of what the market is dictating right now. I'm not saying if you guys have one of these, you can get $3,000 out of it, but you can ask. It's still better than having a long bed. So I've spent the last 45 minutes or so power washing all the suspension and exhaust parts. Was it worth it? Absolutely. You only get that one first impression when you post this stuff on the old FaceSpace and Craigslist, and you really want it to pop. If it's nice and clean, people are more likely going to spend more money, they're going to buy it quicker, and truly, I just feel better when I sell parts to people that's just not disgusting. If you take a look at these two control arms, which one do you think somebody would buy first? This nice clean one where they can tell there's no damage, or this disgusting thing that may be bent? Again, the choice is yours. If you don't want to put that extra effort in it, you don't have to, but I'm going to, because 45 minutes of my time probably could make me another couple $100. If you guys have a bunch of small rusty parts like these, instead of just power washing them off and calling it done, go through and grab you a wire wheel and try to clean them up a little bit. I'm not asking you guys to spend 45 minutes on cleaning up all these smalls. I'm talking spend 15 seconds a piece and make them look like they should be in somebody's truck, not on the old junk pile there. When it's time for me to post all of these parts online, I'm going to take an overall picture just like this, and then I'll zoom in on the individual parts. Then in the description below, I'll put my prices for each item, such as rear trailing arms, $100, exhaust, $25, and so forth. Then when it comes time to post all of my small items, I'll do the same thing. That way, if somebody's looking to buy a bunch of stuff, maybe we can make a package deal and I can get rid of a lot of stuff all at once. It's kind of a win-win. So before I can go through and take this gas tank to the scrapper, which I have to because there's a pretty decent sized hole right there, I do need to drain it. And I wish you guys had a smell-o-vision, because this is just pure varnish. I can't wait to see what it looks like, but it smells horrible. Oh yeah, that looks like oil. Yep, that's not normal. I'd say this gas tank's shot. Check that out. Ugh. Well, here's a quick view of everything we won't be selling. It's not a whole lot, but it does look like a trailer full of tetanus. Now, most of the stuff on here is going to be the chassis, the rusted out cab parts, wrecked body panels, and some other miscellaneous knickknacks. Steel's going pretty high right now, so we'll get it down there, weigh it up, and see how many tens of dollars we get. So quick tip, if you guys are going to be parting out one of these trucks, I don't care how hot it is outside, you probably should be wearing pants, just in case the roof of the cab would slip out of your hands and run down your shins, because if that happens, it hurts. So I'm going to go get bandaged up and yeah, we'll get back after it. So the final total, 780 pounds that came out to be $42.90. I mean, somebody's going to the Applebee's tonight. Yeah, probably not. We did it. It's officially day 35 and still no fines from the city. And that's because I was able to go through and sell off most of all the bigger parts that were sitting here in the driveway. Now I still got a few boxes of small stuff in the garage that I haven't had time to list yet, and a few other things, hidden under the deck, but so far so good. Now at the beginning of the video I told you guys we'd talk about how much profit I made from Donna, but let's start off with my expenses. Now I had to buy the truck initially. Then I went through and spent $12 on cutoff and grinding wheels. I spent another $12 on tire dismounts and $40 on a really crummy Harbor Freight electric impact that only lasted about 10 minutes and caught fire. So I did take that back and got my full $40 back. So I'm about $24 deep, give or take a can or two of WD-40 that I already had. So when it comes to profit, all the parts that I've sold up to date has been about $1,600, and I would say I've got at least $400 to $500 more worth of stuff to sell. So all in all, even if I make $400 more, we're talking $2,000 profit. I think that's a pretty good investment from old Donna, and all that money I make, I can now use it for my next build. If you guys are looking for a great way to go through and build your trucks for free or to start a nest egg, go out and find you a good donor truck, drag it home, rob all the parts off of it that you need, and sell the rest. It just makes sense, and I'm really surprised more people aren't out there doing it, but I'm glad you don't, because that leaves more junk out there for me. Now if you guys haven't, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you didn't know, I just started my own FaceBase page. That way you can keep up with me in between videos. Well, make sure you guys come back, because now that Donna's gone, it isn't going to be long until I drag home my next complaint. Well, I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.